These are twisted murder cases you've never heard of, and this is a massive trigger warning. The case that I'm about to explain takes place in the United States of America on August 29th, 2018. Dorothy Mae Neal was a 83-year-old woman who lived in Baltimore, and she was described as a nice woman and her neighbors loved her. And despite her age, she was very independent and outgoing. In August 2018, neighbors noticed they haven't seen Dorothy in a couple of days. She was known to be active and wasn't the type to stay indoors all day. As a couple more days passed, they were worried that she might have passed away in her home, so they decided to check on Dorothy. They knocked on her door of her home, but there was no response, and her door was locked. Her neighbors began to get scared and called the police. Baltimore police made their way to Dorothy's home, but when they got there, they noticed something extremely strange. They saw what appeared to be small droplets of dried blood outside her home. They also noted there was no signs of forced entry and the door was still locked. The police then managed to get inside Dorothy's house, and once inside, they found her lying on the floor on her back. Dorothy was naked and was badly beaten and was also covered in blood. There was evidence that something brutal happened to her. Used condoms were found around her body, and police rushed to her side and saw that she was still alive but unresponsive. She was barely alive. Dorothy was then rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. The doctors tried everything, but Dorothy passed away shortly after arriving. Investigators then began to find out what happened to her, and it wouldn't take long for them to find the culprit. At the crime scene, police found a lot of evidence. Dorothy's bloody clothing was found, which the killer removed. There was 3 used condoms around where Dorothy was found. A broken lamp was also next to her, and it was covered in blood. It had been used to smash her head in. Whoever did this was someone she trusted. They had to be let into her home before they brutally attacked her and left her for dead. There was evidence that whoever did this was young, but I don't know what that means, as the police never said anything further. It was in September 2018 when the police arrested a 14-year-old male named Tyrone Harvin, and he had just turned 14. The police knew Tyrone, and he had a criminal past. Tyrone denied all allegations made against him and even said he didn't even know Dorothy at all. But he had a lot of evidence against him. Dorothy sometimes watched him, and this is why there was no forced entry. The condoms that were found were tested against Tyrone's DNA, and it came back a near perfect match. Also, the condom wrappers were tested for fingerprints, and the fingerprints matched Tyrone's. There was also someone else's blood at the crime scene, and it came back to be Tyrone's. An autopsy was then done on Dorothy's body, and police found evidence that she was sexually assaulted in a number of ways. And Tyrone had hit her so hard with the lamp that she had multiple fractures to her skull. The evidence was enough to charge Tyrone with murder. However, Tyrone continued to deny killing Dorothy. He told his mother that he didn't do it, and when she was speaking to the media, she said Tyrone was a caring young boy, and it makes no sense why he would hurt an elderly lady. Tyrone was charged as an adult due to the graphic nature of the crime. Investigators believed it was premeditated. It seems Tyrone was helping Dorothy with some chores around her house, when all of a sudden he began to attack and force himself upon her, taking advantage of the fact that she was a vulnerable old woman. And on June 29, 2022, now 18-year-old Tyrone was found guilty of Dorothy's murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison. This case is truly twisted, and for someone so young to do this to an elderly woman is just disturbing.